and this is welcoming you to my ending. So, I am quitting van life. Um, After almost 4 years, I will be quitting van life and I will be doing other things with my life. I wanted to talk a little bit about van life and then finally announce what I will be doing. Um, I plan on trying to post more onto YouTube, post more about my travels, post more about what I've been doing, about life. So I've been living in the van for almost 4 years. During that 4 years, I started building this van in Florida. I traveled around Florida, and then I made a large trip across the country to San Diego. At the time, I had a partner who also had a van, and we decided to try and go to Arizona um, to have them get work. And I was working remotely at the time as an assistant. I got to Arizona and I was like, damn, it is hot here. I cannot be here in a van. So they left. I left. They went to San Diego because they wanted to see the ocean. And they told me I should go to San Diego, and I was planning on going to Seattle, Washington. Um, I love Washington, and they said San Diego is very nice. You should come to San Diego. So I decided to come to San Diego because honestly, it was close. And I thought, why not? So I went to San Diego. While I was in San Diego is a beautiful place. I started a business out of the van and became an artist. And that was really beautiful. And I'm really grateful for the connections that I made and the opportunities I had as an artist, and being able to be part of a wonderful community of people. And it's not even just like the artist community, it's the people who support artists, the people who go to local food markets and craft fairs. It's a really wonderful community, and that was really nice. So I created this business. I did some traveling and left. I came back to San Diego. I left again. I came back to San Diego again. And in July of this year, I left San Diego with the intention of moving back to Florida. I drove 6,000 miles up and around the country from San Diego back to Florida because I wanted to drive a different path, because when I left San Diego in July, it was very hot and I did not want to have to drive through the heat. And also, why not take the longer path and see different things? So I drove from San Diego up the coast of California, up the coast of Oregon, and then through the eastern part of Washington. I got to visit the North Cascades. I got to visit Glacier National Park again, and then I took US 2, one of the most northern roads, or the most northern highway in the United States, across the United States, until I made it over to Wisconsin. From Wisconsin, I drove over to Ohio and down through the East Coast back to Florida. On my way back to Florida, I was really stressed. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to be able to try and have the same type of art community here, where I sold art, where I still did the same thing in a different place. But I don't think it's really possible to replicate what San Diego and Southern California has when it comes to art in the art community and markets and supporting local businesses. Uh, it feels like such a unique and year-round thing. So I was very stressed living in the van for the last 3 years. I've had a lot of van repairs, and those van repairs have really piled up and have put me in a not so great financial space. So I have acquired quite a bit of debt that is just stressing me out, especially whenever you don't have a stable income. I'm not one of those van life people who has a digital job. I'm not one of those van life people who works remotely. I often envy them. I wish that I could disappear into the desert or the forest or somewhere and I could just work stable hours and not have to worry about being anywhere except for in front of my computer. There's pros and cons to everything in van life. And yeah, I'm not one of those people. So on my way back to Florida, I was doing my best to enjoy my trip without stress and anxiety. So I was very stressed and anxious, and I was like, it's okay. It's all going to work out. Everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be okay. You've done this before. You'll be able to do it again. You'll be able to find your way again. So, why am I quitting van life? Finances is the simplest option or reason. Finances is the simplest reason, but it's bigger than that. I love living in a van. I love traveling, and I need more space first off in the van. Not because I feel like I need more space for me to live. I feel like I need more space for me to work. For the last several years that I've been doing these markets, it's been difficult to expand my business, to create more, to do more, to be in more places with the limitations of my van. My gas mileage isn't great to travel farther for just a market. I have to use a collapsible ladder and I have to climb up onto the roof and pull out a 50-pound 10 by 10 canopy from the roof on the side of the road sometimes to attend these markets, and that's really challenging. And it just didn't feel like the right path anymore. But when I left San Diego, I didn't know what the right path was. I was just waiting for it to come to me. So one night, and many nights on this trip, I would wake up in a panic. Luckily it wasn't too many, but it was enough. I'd wake up in a panic. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna run out of money. Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna work? I have the van. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. I have the van. I have a place to live. Well, one night I woke up with this sudden, almost epiphany. In the moment, it felt like an option. And then the more I thought about it, it started to feel like the path. So I woke up, and immediately upon me opening my eyes, I thought, I need to go back to Korea. And then I kind of went back to sleep. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I'm kind of neurotic sometimes. I might have started just researching immediately. But what happened was this thing that felt like an option started to feel like a path. And I just kept going like, I need to go back to Korea. I need to go back to Korea. No, I need to go back. I want to go back to Korea. I started to realize that living in the van has made me very comfortable in both the most wonderful and worst way. I find myself being too comfortable staying inside my house, staying inside my van, being by myself, not exploring as much, not pushing myself as much, because it's just the perfect living in a van is the perfect combination of comfort and exploration. So I started researching immediately. How can I go back to Korea? Rewind. In 2018, I was working at a bank, and I left the bank to go teach English abroad in South Korea. I was working at the bank and I couldn't take it anymore. I felt like my brain was melting. I felt like my brain was melting through the repetition of each day, sitting in a cubicle, sitting behind a desk. So I went and I taught abroad, and I found out that I love teaching. I loved being a teacher. I loved teaching. I liked living in Korea. Every single day felt like an adventure. And that's one of the things that I find most beautiful about traveling, and why I love traveling so much, is because each and every single day feels like an opportunity for growth. Whether that be going to get a coffee and trying to navigate a language, trying to read a sign, trying to translate something, trying to find a place, seeing something that you've never seen before, learning about that thing you've never seen before. It is just the best opportunity for continuous growth and continuous wonderment. And to fulfill that wanderlust to me. So I had this clarity where I was just like, I need to go back to South Korea. So I started researching immediately, and then that research turned into motivation and enthusiasm. And I've gone through the very long process of getting a job again at a public school in South Korea. And I'm super excited, but really I'm terrified. I don't think that I will ever get over the anxiety and fear that I hold, even after all of the traveling I've done, all the things I've done alone, all the places I've been. I don't think I will ever get used to it. Every place I've ever moved to, I cry when I arrive. And I'm happy that I have a hotel the first 2 days that I arrive. So if I decide to cry, I have a place to cry and just let it out. So I am going to be leaving on pretty much Valentine's Day this year, which is a month away, and I will be moving back to South Korea. At first, I plan to keep the van. I love the van. I love my van. I love the way I built it. I love it's everything. But I started to have this anxiety now. Instead of what am I going to do, how am I going to get my life back in order financially? So I was driving through the mountains of North Carolina on the highway. It was right around my birthday, which was a beautiful day that I spent alone, swimming in a waterfall. It was great. I was driving and I had this moment of clarity where I was like, I need to sell the van. If I want to get my life back in order, I need to sell the van. I need to use the money from the van to try and allow space for new things to come in. So you might be wondering what's going to happen to this sweet, adorable, wonderful little boy whenever I'm gone. Well, luckily, my parents will be taking care of him. And they have a nice big yard, and they have 9 other dogs, and Walter will be just joining a large family with a nice big half-acre of yard to run around and chase squirrels. And he'll have handmade dog food, and hopefully he will not even think one day of me. Hopefully he doesn't even think of me for one day because he's just so happy. Even though I'll be sad, I want him to be happy. So that's the most important thing. Right, love? So I am selling the van and hopefully sending blessings out into the universe. I will post it and it will have the perfect buyer, someone who's really going to love and appreciate the van, be able to take it on amazing trips, enjoy the build as much as I have, and really have this as a wonderful home / camper for vacationing. We'll see how that all works out. I'm hoping that giving up so much between San Diego and my business and my art and the van will really allow new, fresh, more wonderful things to enter my life. I'm starting to feel like sometimes, often, that the reason why bad things happen is because you cannot sense the change when good things happen. They talk about in Buddhism, they talk about in many spiritual practices, the art of unattachment. And I think one of those things that they're talking about with this art of unattachment is allowing good things to leave your life, because we hold on to good things with the fear that if we let go of something good, that we won't be able to find something better. And then, because life wants us, the universe wants us to progress, to grow, to expand, it whispers at first, it's time to leave. And when you don't listen to the whisper, it then starts to shout, and then it starts to scream, and then it starts to break stuff. And I am trying to learn how to listen to the whispers and never get to the shouting or the breaking. So here I heard a whisper, it's time to leave. It's time to do something new. It's time to sell the van. It's time to move on. It's now time to allow new, beautiful things to enter your life and create space. Life is like an old trunk where you need to take old things out to put new things in with a limited amount of space. Or life is like a book, and I am choosing to put down an old book that I've read, that I've finished, to read a new book in hopes that that new book will be just as interesting, just as amazing. That is why I am quitting van life after almost 4 years. Anyways, I'm going to be posting, hopefully, now, after all of this time. I'm going to be posting on YouTube about my travels, about travel gear, about just normal daily stuff, talks, life. I would really love for you to subscribe and follow me in my journey. Maybe I have something insightful for you to see, hear, watch. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just something you put on in the background and my voice just drones out as you cook food. That's fine. But if you would subscribe, that would be nice. Subscribing is free, so is liking the video, and I'll just send you some blessings from the universe. You should comment as to, based on what I've said, what you would do. Would you put an airplane emoji if you would leave everything behind and travel into the unknown and jump on a plane and leave? Or leave a little car or a van emoji if you would stay in the van and continue to be an artist? Let me know what you think. Which one would you choose?